Hey guys, welcome back. Follow along today if you want to check out today's adventure in making a giant mess on your garage floor. Hey, welcome back. It's been a little bit since we've been doing some work out here in the garage, mainly because it's hunting season here in Colorado, and that's wrapped up and the weather's getting cold now and I'm ready to get back at it. One of the first things I noticed I needed to do is I needed to swap out the thermostat on the old Jeep, the old CJ5. So I started to tear into it and thinking I was just going to do a quick little project with it, but in the process I realized that my water pump's leaking as well, so I might as well swap out that water pump. So follow along today. I'll show you some tips and techniques I do whenever I start one of those projects. And we'll just throw a new water pump on the old Jeep, get it ready for wintertime. And don't worry, hey, you guys that see this in the background, it's my Model A. If you haven't been following my videos, just go check it out. You can jump on and check out some of my old videos. You can kind of see how this whole project has come along over the past year or so. And we're almost there. I should be getting my title, license plate squared away here real soon. I'm working on stripping some paint off, but that stuff will come later. Today we got to get a little bit done on the old Jeep, get it ready for winter, because I hope to drive this thing through the winter. Yeah, I hope to get a top for it and then drive it through the winter, but we'll see. All right. Okay, so replacing a thermostat. There's two things I always do whenever I put a new thermostat or replace a thermostat in a vehicle, whatever the vehicle is. The first thing I do is this right here. This right here. I just pulled this off of my stove in the house. And you can see I got my little thermometer stuck in there. It's 198 degrees currently because I just pulled it off. And if you look at the thermostat right here, it is wide open and starting to close as I pulled it out here, okay? So I drop that thing in there. I gradually heat it up and then I keep track to actually see what temperature that thermostat opens. This one is a 180 degree thermostat, and I just confirmed when I heated the water up, I checked it. It starts to open about 181, 182, somewhere in there. And we'll see as this cools off, we should see that thing begin to close up and actually do that. So here's the trick though, right? The reason I'm doing this in the first place is because this is the thermostat that came out of the old Jeep, and it is marked down here as a 190. However, I can tell you this thing opens at about 130, and which probably reinforces why I didn't think there was a thermostat in it, because it just didn't warm up very much. But when I ran this test on it, this bad boy opened up at about 130 degrees, about fully open at like 140, so the engine never really got as warm. It never really warmed up. And is that a big deal? Well, kind of. One, I'm going to run a heater in here, and yeah, you want warm water for a heater, and two, it cuts down on the, well, it adds to, the engine will make sludge. The combustion doesn't work right if it just doesn't get evenly heated and everything. And then the oil will be, oil will be sludgy, and you don't want that. So that's why we went ahead and replaced the thermostat. All right, in a couple minutes when this cools off a little ways, I'll show you guys that sucker's closing up when it gets down to about 180. In the meantime, this should be pretty easy. I'll show you where we're at with it, okay? What I already did is I came in here, pulled my hose off, dumped antifreeze all over my engine and floor, cleaned it up, undid my water neck, which you guys can see here. And this thing, no kidding, had mold growing on it. So I tried to scrape that off, cleaned up the bottom, and realized I didn't get a gasket with this thermostat, so I got to reuse this old one. So I cleaned up my old gasket. I'll put some sealer on it, seal it to the thermostat housing, and we'll drop that thing back in the old Jeep. Should be pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and do the thermostat today. Just drop it in there, screw it down, and then I'll look at tearing this guy apart because I should be able to get my water pump in tomorrow morning. They had to order it, of course. So, all right, let's look and see how we're doing on our thermostat opening. Science trick of the day. Yeah, you can see there it is just about all the way closed up. There's just a little bit of a gap, and it's, there we go, 182. So that's a good one. Actually opens and closes on the temperature. that we want it to. So that's step number one on what I do, the tip or the trick that I do on these thermostats. The second trick, as I set it down right here, I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with a little tiny drill bit, and I'm going to drill probably 2 holes, one on each side, with maybe that size drill bit, maybe a little bit smaller. But what that's going to do for me is it's going to allow the cooling system to circulate, obviously, right? It's going to allow a little bit of that to bypass through, and it'll circulate, keeps air pockets from building, just creates it's a little bit better the way it operates. And it actually gets a better signal going to your thermostat. The reason is sometimes you get a little air pocket that builds up right below the thermostat, and then it's just steam trying to heat it. It's not the actual water or antifreeze up against it. And it just doesn't work as effectively. So this lets it flow through it. It's effective, and it's not enough to really just flow past and cause a big difference, but just enough to make the system be a little more efficient. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to drill a few of these holes, and then we'll bolt this thing back in. Okay, so that's that. You guys see it? It's that easy. I just used my little drill bit, threw it in the vise, knocked 2 holes in there, and then technique. I always like keeping one of these around, even a cheapo Harbor Freight one that's been burned up, one of these step bits, because I like the end. I can come in here and it'll chamfer out the backside of any of these holes so you don't have that metal sticking out. So there we go. Okay, this thermostat now has been tested. It's exactly what we want, and now it's drilled, and I'm going to drop it in the car. Alrighty guys, I got that back in, bolted down, torqued down to spec, and now that's good to go. Now I need to get in here and get into my water pump. The reason I'm replacing this is I was underneath the car looking at some other leaks. I noticed that it's leaking water out this front seal of the water pump. It's leaking out, and it's enough that it makes some drips every once in a while and keeps it wet under there. So I know it needs to get changed. It probably lasts a while, but inevitably when it does fail, it'll be when I'm out in the middle of nowhere. So I got a new one ordered. I'll be able to pick it up first thing in the morning. So to get to it though, I got to unbolt my radiator, which means I'm probably gonna have to unbolt, get these little screws, loosen the shroud, get the shroud loose, unbolt that. Yeah, you can see how this goes. One trick, if I do this right, you can see how far up this radiator hose is. If I do it right, I can just drain a little bit of water out of the radiator and then pull this hose off here and keep that up and actually leave a little bit of water and good antifreeze in the radiator. So I'll try that. I think I'm done dumping antifreeze all over my driveway floor tonight. I'll bring you back once I get that thing out. Okay, got the radiator out. 4 bolts, 2 on each side. Had to release the front support strut here, move it out of the way so that I could lift the radiator up and out. 6 little screws like this hold the fan shroud on, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it could have been a little easier, could have gone a little more smoothly, but here we are. And you can see I'm glad I pulled it out because there's a few decades worth of junk stuck down in there and stuff. So there we go. Yeah, a little more antifreeze dumping out on my feet. It's just what I needed. All right, now I got to rip this front part off. I'll pull the fan off, and then I can just come in here and rip a bunch of bolts off and should be able to pop this guy out. So I'll do that and I'll bring it back when I'm done. Okay, there we go. Got the water pump out. This is the bottom side of it, and you can see how it's goobered up around the weep hole here real bad. And it was actually leaking out that front seal. So I got it out. I'm going to pick up the new one tomorrow morning. I'll Probably have to pull this piece out, which should be fun. But I can compare them, make sure it's the right animal. And then this one shouldn't be that bad to just slide in there and bolt in. But this is a good opportunity while I have it apart to clean some things up, maybe check how tight all the timing cover bolts are, that kind of stuff. And then yeah, we'll be able to slam this thing together. That's it for tonight. Though I gotta go make some dinner, call it quits for now, but I will see you guys in the morning, hopefully with a new water pump. Hey guys, I'm back. It's the next day. I got the new water pump down at the parts house. Picked it up, and comparing the two, looks like it's the same animal. You can see here a couple of differences. Here's one for you guys. If you know these things, you know these old Jeeps and familiar with the F-134 engine, tell me why this pump has a hole right here. You can see right here, I mean, you can see the shaft turning inside there. So I don't know if it's just sealed here and this is just a bearing up here or what. It doesn't matter, it leaked out that seal and was leaking anyway. So maybe that's just the gap for where the weep hole was. I don't know. Anyway, I got the new one. It's basically the same. You can see these came with a pulley on them. One difference, this pulley's heavy. I mean, it's thick. It's a lot heavier than the old one that was on there. Maybe that'll help me climb hills better or something. But now I just got to get back into it. I'm going to finish cleaning this mess up all around where that goes, slap the gasket on, stick that sucker on, and then we can go to buttoning up. Putting fan, everything on the front, shroud, radiator, tie it all up, fire it up, test it out, back it out, and see if it works. It's kind of noisy in here today. I got the heater running because it's cold in here, but I'm thankful to have a good heater furnace in the shop. So, all right, I'm gonna get on that, button that guy up, and yeah, I'm excited to go test this thing out. Alright guys, that's it. It looks like a water pump, huh? You can see I put my fittings in. Well, I had to put a plug in and then my fitting for my heater hose, but then I used some of that aircraft sealant type stuff on the threads there, so that's why it looks all goobered up. No big deal. I think that stuff works pretty good. It looks ugly but doesn't leak. But everything's in, well, almost, and it doesn't rub anywhere. And of course I forgot to put my old original screen in front of the radiator behind the grill here, so I'll struggle that in here in a minute. Now it's just a matter of topping off all my coolant, putting my battery in, and then I'll open up the garage, fire this guy off, and test it out, see how it came out. Alright, she's all buttoned up, almost full on antifreeze. I just got to open up my garage now, fire it up, finish topping off the system, and then this baby will be ready to go out on another cruise. So let's give that a shot, make sure it works. Just listen to her purr like a kitten. Alright, that's it for this episode about Hombre Garage. Come back next time. We're going to finish building the hot rod.